Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about earning respect fast. These are my top tips for new managers. Before we get into it, let me pause just to say, if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, join the tribe so that you don't miss the leadership tips that are given here every week. Now, do you feel like you don't have the respect that you'd like to have from your team? Maybe it's because you took over a team that were once your peers and now you are leading them. Maybe it's because you're younger, much younger than some of the people who report to you. Or maybe you feel that way because you just don't have the years of leadership and management experience. And so you feel as if your team doesn't respect you. Well, we are going to address those feelings today because honestly, they really don't matter when it comes to respect. I mean, it matters because it's something that you're thinking or you're feeling, but outside of that, you can earn respect regardless of either of those being your situation. And today, that's what we're talking about. I'm going to provide my top tips to you for new managers so that not only can you earn respect, but you can do it quickly. Let's get right to it. Tip number one is to demonstrate competence. Show your team that you have the skills and knowledge to lead. While you may not know all of the process from beginning to end, early on, you really want to understand the work, the tasks, and the projects that your team work on. You really want to dig in and be sure that you have knowledge that consists of what is technical and what is operational as far as what your team experiences on the day-to-day. Show interest in your team's personal goals and aspirations. Provide guidance and support where needed. Certainly, any training and other helpful advice can really score some wins early and allow your team to get the assistance and development that they need to get the job done. One final note on demonstrating competence is to share your plan of attack with your team so that they can know and understand and feel a part of whatever it is that you're planning. And in your plan, be clear on whatever your goals and expectations are. I've got a story on this when you're demonstrating competence and how much we feel as leaders that we need to know. So in every manager role that I had, I always knew process from beginning to end, like the back of my hand. I remember the first time I took over a team where I did not know the process. There wasn't going to be time for me to take a deep dive and dig into the process to really get that firm understanding that I always had. So I remember when I took this team over that I leaned into not the knowledge of process, but I leaned into my years of experience, and I knew that I was very capable of strategizing. And so while it was really uncomfortable for me not to be a process expert, I began to really understand that what was needed for me in this role wasn't to be a process expert. It was to be a strategic leader and really guide my team to what we needed to get done. So this team had always brought people in and trained them from the very beginning of the process. You would learn step one, and then step two, and then step three. Well, where the team was having trouble was in step three, and I recognized it almost right away. And so what I decided to do as I continued to hire new people to ramp up this team so that we could handle the workload, I decided we would train people on step number three. Why? Because that's where we needed the most help. And it was an area that we actually could teach people and have them become experts in step three, while the other steps one and two continued to move and work fairly smoothly. It was a huge win for the team early on. So while I didn't have the process expertise, they really began to see me as someone who was very strategic and that I could look at a situation and make decisions that would really work out for the good. Tip number two is to build trust. Building trust is one of the things that can quickly help you to earn respect from your team. You'll want to be about what you say you're about. Follow up and follow through. Be consistent, be honest, be real. One of the first ways that you can do that, and really you can do any of these things in either order, but one of the first things you can do is you can have an open door policy. Be sure that your team knows that you are available to hear their ideas, their feedback, their thoughts. People can stop by either anytime if that's the way you choose, or you can set up office hours so that you're making the space for your team to be able to keep you updated and have your ear as needed. The second item under this umbrella of building trust so that you can earn respect fast is to be transparent, be consistent, and be fair. Keep it real with people. Share honestly when you can. You'll want to provide people with the why when changes are being made so that they can really understand why things are taking place. So in light of being transparent and fair and being consistent, you definitely want to be professional. So as you share honestly, be sure you're not gossiping. Be sure that whatever you're sharing is coming from a professional standpoint so that you can really do the work to earn that respect that you deserve. Keeping with the vein of building trust to earn respect, you'll definitely want to own up to any mistakes that you've made. There's really nothing wrong with that. You can be honest and true with your team, which will also encourage them to be honest and true when they've made a mistake, to own it. But you can also let your team know the steps that you are taking to ensure that the mistake doesn't happen again moving forward. Admitting mistakes can be powerful when it comes to earning respect from your team. It humanizes who you are, it makes you a real person, and it allows them to know that you have those similarities with them and that we all make mistakes and there is definitely room to make improvements. One final note on building trust is to give credit and recognition where due. There is something about shouting out your team members who are doing an outstanding job, even some of the smallest tasks that sometimes make a big difference. Be sure to slap people high five when you see them, or you might want to put in your shared messaging channel out to the entire team, hey, congrats to XYZ person who did XYZ and it contributed to whatever the result was. You can send an email to your team directly to the person. You can certainly use your team meetings for giving credit and recognition, as well as in your one-on-ones when you're talking personally with someone, you can tell them how much you appreciate the work that they do. These elements, having an open door policy, being transparent, consistent, and fair, owning up to your mistakes, giving credit and recognition to people when due, these are the things that will not only help you to build the trust between you and your team, but certainly to help you with earning the respect of your team members. My last tip is to empower your team. You know, I can think of some of the days when I had a manager who empowered me to do something. Doing things like advocating for your team. If there's something that your team needs, if your team needs a voice of someone who maybe is just a little bit higher up in the organization, advocating for your team so that they can get the things that they need to get the job done, to feel more comfortable, to feel better, to better service a customer. Advocating for your team can have a tremendous impact on your ability to earn respect. Empower your team through tasks and project delegation. Yes, delegating doesn't always have to be this bad thing. I've talked about this before, but giving people projects that they are really interested in, giving people projects that they are certainly capable of getting done, and then that has an element of challenge to it so that people can grow and develop from the tasks and the projects that you're delegating. These are excellent moves to help with earning the respect of your team. The final item in this last tip when we're talking about empowering your team is to support them with your time and attention. Yes, I talked about this before with having like an open door policy, but just be sure that you're checking in on your team, that you make yourself available to your team, that you do things like set up regular meetings so that they have access to you, which will show how much you're supporting them, how much you're there for them, and how much you care for their performance and their ability to do the job well. These are the elements that help you to empower your team and will keep driving toward earning the respect of every team member. So, those are the top tips for new managers to earn respect fast. Now, if you like this information, subscribe to the channel as well as like the video. That helps me to understand what's helpful and what you are finding useful. Please comment if there are any topics that you would like for me to cover forward. And just a word on an upcoming event that we have. We are having an Ask Me Anything live on YouTube that's coming up very soon. So please, in the description box, there's a link to sign up so you can attend that private live event. As always, thanks so much for watching the video. And until next time, stay practical and lead better.